A very good morning to all. Today we are going to start a new chapter, chapter number 7, and the name of the chapter is The First Empire. So here in page number 60, you can see the big idea. So these are the topics that we'll be discussing in this chapter, and they are the state of Magadha, the Maurya, Chandragupta Maurya, Bindusara, Ashoka the Great, Mauryan administration, Mauryan art and architecture. And here in a flow chart, you can see the Mauryan Empire, and the subtopics are beginning of the Mauryan era, Ashoka the Great, decline of the Mauryan Empire. So all these topics we will be covering in this chapter. And here in the history maker, you can see Chanakya. So who was Chanakya? Chanakya was also known as Kautilya or Vishnugupta, and he was the mastermind behind Chandragupta's rise to power. And he is regarded as the greatest political thinker, economist and kingmaker. And he wrote a book named Arthasastra, which contains his political ideas. And it is also one of the world's earliest treatises on political thoughts and social order. So here treaty means an agreement or document which includes facts and principles. And even a drama was written by Vishaka Datta called Mudra Rakshasa, which shows the power politics between Chanakya and Rakshasa. He was a minister in the Nanda dynasty. So this was about Chanakya. Now let's move on to the chapter, and the name of the chapter is The First Empire. So what do you understand by empire? Empire, it consists of several kingdoms or states that have been brought under a single ruler. So this is known as empire. And in the previous chapters, we have discussed that the Janapadas, they captured the neighboring states to form Mahajanapadas. And the kingdom of Magadha was one of the most powerful Mahajanapada among the 16 Mahajanapadas. So we have already discussed this in the previous chapter. And also in chapter number 5, in case study of the kingdom of Magadha, we have discussed that lastly the kingdom of Magadha was ruled by some powerful rulers like Bindusara and Ajatashatru. And later the Magadha's power continued to expand under Shaishunaga and Nanda dynasty. Here the Nanda dynasty, they had massive army which consisted of elephants, chariots and foot soldiers. And this army was so powerful that in 326 BCE, Alexander, the ruler of Macedonia, he captured the northwestern part of India and he wanted to move towards east of river Indus. But people, they warned him about the massive army of the Nanda dynasty. And because of this, Alexander appointed governors in India to look after his territories, and he left for Greece. This Alexander's invasion, it weakened small tribes and states of North India. And because of this, the Mauryans, they were able to establish their control over these territories and they built an empire, and that was known as the Mauryan Empire. So let's discuss about Chandragupta Maurya. So although the Nandas, they had powerful and massive army, but they were less popular among the people. And a young man named Chandragupta, he served the Nandas, but he left them and lived as refugee in the northwest. And there he learned the art of warfare from the Greeks. It was here that Chandragupta Maurya, he met a wise Brahmana named Chanakya, and Chanakya was also humiliated by the last ruler of the Nanda dynasty, that is King Dhanananda, and because of this humiliation, Chanakya left his court. Chanakya met Chandragupta Maurya and he was very much impressed with this young man, and he decided to train him in statecraft. Statecraft means in running the government. So with Chanakya's help, Chandragupta Maurya overthrew the Nandas in 321 BCE and established the Mauryan Empire. And Chandragupta Maurya, he extended his empire from Hindu Kush in the northwest to Bengal in the east, from Himalayas in the north to Narmada in the south. And he ruled for 24 years. That is from 321 BCE to 297 BCE. And according to the Jaina text, it is said that towards the end of his life, he became the follower of Mahavira, and he also joined a group of Jain monks which was led by Bhadrabahu, and he travelled to Sravana Belagola in Karnataka. There he fasted unto death, that is according to the Jaina spiritual tradition. And after his death, his throne was succeeded by his son Bindusara, that is from 297 BCE to 272 BCE. So during Bindusara's rule, the Mauryan Empire extended as far as Mysore in the south, and he also had friendly relation with Greek governors in Asia and Africa, and the region of Kalinga and some of the states in extreme south of India were the part which were not under the Mauryan Empire during that time. So Bindusara was succeeded by his son Ashoka the Great, and Ashoka is known as the greatest ruler of the Mauryan Empire, and he was also the first ruler to unify India, and he is also known as Ashoka the Great, and he also served as governor of Takshashila and Ujjain, and he gained administrative experience during Bindusara's rule. And when he became the emperor, he wanted to add Kalinga as part of the Mauryan Empire, and he fought a historic battle against Kalinga. But this destruction, it changed his life, because the destruction caused by this war, it left a deep impact on him. And he was the first ruler in ancient India to promote peace rather than war. So this was about Ashoka the Great. Now the next topic that we are going to discuss is the Kalinga War and its impact. As we have discussed, Ashoka was the greatest ruler of the Mauryan Empire, and he governed his empire very well. So during that time, Kalinga was not part of the Mauryan Empire, and when Ashoka became the emperor, he wanted to add the kingdom of Kalinga to the Mauryan Empire, because he knew how important the kingdom of Kalinga was, because it controlled the route to South India and Southeast Asia by land and sea, and it was also at the center of important trading route. So because of these reasons, he realized how important the kingdom of Kalinga was, and Kalinga was the ancient name of coastal Odisha, and because of these reasons, he fought historic battle against Kalinga. And although Ashoka conquered Kalinga, but this war changed his life, because Ashoka was horrified when he saw the violence and bloodshed where thousands of soldiers and common people died, and he decided not to fight any war. And Ashoka was a king who gave up conquest even after winning a war, and he became the follower of Buddha, and he devoted rest of his life to his Dhamma. Here Dhamma is a Prakrit form of Sanskrit word Dharma, meaning religious duty, law, beliefs and practices, and Dharma Vijaya became his main goal, that is conquest through dharma and not by war. So Dhamma Vijaya became his main goal of his life, and he communicated to his people through edicts, that is the rules and laws ordered by a ruler. And here Ashoka encouraged his subjects to be non-violent, to be tolerant and respectful towards others' religious belief, to be truthful, to be respectful towards everyone, that is teachers, elders and everyone, and also to be kind and charitable to all, especially slaves and servants. So the policy of Dhamma was meant to bring all his people together and also to teach them the spirit of tolerance, non-violence, and also to respect each other. So this was about the Kalinga War and its impacts. Now next you can see you have an activity. The question is, read the warm-up exercise given in page number 61 and answer the following questions. The first question is, what were the casualties of the Kalinga War? Second one is, how did Ashoka feel after conquering Kalinga? So you have to write the answer and submit in teams. That's all for today. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you.